Hey everybody, I'm super excited to talk to you today about the Console 1 from Softube. Amazing piece of gear. I fell in love with it a couple of weeks ago when I picked it up. I fell in love with it right out of the box, literally. Super easy connection, simple USB, and it is the kind of piece of gear that once you've loaded the software and you've hooked it up, you can start using it immediately. And that's no exaggeration. I mean, their quick start guide, that's it. It's that intuitive to use this piece of gear, which is wonderful. Now it will go really deep, and there's a great online manual when you install the software, and I encourage you to dig into that. We will a little bit later get into some of the deeper things, but I do want to let you know this is not a review necessarily of how it sounds. We won't be doing any A/Bing type of review. This is more about workflow. This is to show you how this thing can speed up your process, your mixing process, your recording process, everything, and ultimately lead to better mixes. And to me, that's where the magic is. If I find a piece of gear or a plugin or something that makes my music sound better, I'll use it even if it's not the fastest thing in the world. If it sounds amazing, I'll use it. But where the magic really is, of course, is when you find a piece of gear that sounds incredible and it also speeds up your workflow. Because that's where the magic is. That's what we're all after, is being able to make better music and even faster. So that's, again, this will be more about the workflow. And again, so right out of the box, something simple to use. You can start turning knobs immediately to get what you need. But the first thing you need to do, of course, is once the software is installed, once it's hooked up, is you need to put this across your tracks. Now, Softube recommends that you load an instance of this on every single track that you have, including your buses, like your verbs and delays, etc. So, and here's exactly how you do. I mean, just whatever DAW you have, you just load it up. And Softube Console 1, there it is. Get that across all your tracks. You can see here that I've got it. I've already got it across all of mine. So I'll copy this over. You can load it up ever how you want to. And one thing that we're going to talk about a little bit later on, maybe even a second video, is the amazing way that you can set up templates and have this already done for you when you load your session. But anyway, so once you've got that loaded, it's time to get started. It's time to start turning knobs. Now, I said this wasn't going to be a review of the sound. We weren't going to get into that part of it, doing A/Bing, but I had to do a little bit myself when I first got it. And so what I did was I pulled up a mix that I had recently finished, and I put Console 1 across every single track and bus, as Softube recommends, and then I printed that mix, and then I blind tested myself, just A/Bing between the mix that didn't have Console 1 on it and the mix that did. And it was not a subtle difference. The low end on the Console 1 mix, the low end was tighter. The biggest difference maybe that I heard was the stereo imaging. It just became significantly wider, among some other things. And then I had a couple of friends come over and did the same thing with them. I also did it where they didn't know which mix they were listening to, and both of them picked the Console 1 mix, hands down. So yeah, you do need to know that it's an incredible piece of gear. But once you're ready, you dive in. And the great thing is, what they've done here is there's they give you 20 different buttons across the top that just correspond to the tracks on your DAW. And then, of course, you can bank up for 21 through 40, and you can bank up and continue on as many as you need. It gives you a great way to just be able to access the track that you want. Again, time saving, because if you're ready to work on an EQ on a kick drum, for example, and so typically I would get my mouse, I would come here to my kick drum, I would find my plug-in, I would click, and then I would start adjusting whatever parameter it was that I wanted after it popped up. Whereas when you're using the Console 1, because it's already on your track, once you select your kick, it pops up on the screen. We'll get into the view modes in just a moment, but it pops up on the screen, and without enabling anything, all I've done is just select the kick drum. It pops up. When I start turning knobs, it starts doing its thing right there. Get some low cut, whatever it is that you're wanting to do to your kick drum, you just start turning knobs and it does it. You're going to work on the compressor, work on the compressor. Of course, I'm just turning knobs here. But that shows you how right off the bat, instead of having to get your mouse, go to your screen, find the track, find the plugin, click it, then find the parameters, and then make the adjustments, which leads you definitely towards mixing with your eyes, because you can't help it because you're using a mouse. And so you're up here and you're looking at things and you're starting to let your, if you're like me, if you're like a lot of people, you can't help but mix with your eyes a little bit. And so this not only lets you go from one click, start turning knobs, you're immediately mixing. You don't even have to look at the screen if you don't want to. You can just start mixing with your ears, mix with your eyes, letting your eyes, participate in what you're doing with your ears. But you don't have to. So let me tell you a little bit about the view modes, just so you can understand when I say you can look at it or not look at it, the way these view modes work. I've got it set right now to something that's just called auto. And so when I hit a track, it comes up. And if I don't touch anything for, I believe it's 5 seconds maybe, then it will just go away and it will go off the screen. And that's a great way to work if you want to just be able to keep your DAW in front of you the whole time and not have that blocking and having to constantly reach up and toggle it on and off. But again, that's a personal preference, and Softube knows that, so they give you some different ways of viewing this. You can turn it, you can turn auto off, and you can just only turn it on when you want it. So with it on, it will stay on until I reach up and I turn it off. So, some people like to leave that up the entire time. Matter of fact, I've gotten in the habit, I'm not sure if you can see it here in the screen, but I've gotten the habit of where I keep the Console 1 display up here on my secondary monitor, and I keep it there all the time. And that way, when I want to look at it, it's already there and I don't have to turn it on and off. So a couple different modes, using the shift button and the view button right here. Hold down shift. You can go through the different modes that it has. Mode here that just shows you representation of the knobs and the different parameters where they're set. Another one that's really cool, one of my favorites here, is the way it will give you just the smaller representation or labeling of your tracks or whatever. So if you need to do something, like if I want to do something to my toms, I know that right here they're on track 7. I hit track 7, then again, depending on what view I'm in, you can see there are my toms and I can get busy. So great view modes, great options there for you. Softube, definitely thinking ahead there. Again, for me, it's all about workflow and just the way that contributes to the speed of things. I think is incredible. So it's all about, for me, it's all about, again, better sound and less mousing. And that's definitely something that you accomplish here. One thing I do want to note, and I didn't know this right off the bat. I was adding a step that I found out later I didn't have to be adding, and that was, let's take kick drum again, for example. Let me pull up kick number 2, because kick number 1 already has some adjustments to it, and kick number 2 does not. So here's kick number 2, and you can see I've done nothing to it. And what I thought you had to do is I thought you had to say, okay, I'm going to do something to the EQ, so let me turn the EQ on, and then I'll make changes. You don't even have to do that step. You don't even have to engage it. Right now it's off, and watch what happens when I start turning knobs. Instantly it's engaged. And so that's an incredible feature too, just another time saver. You don't even have to do that. But of course that equalizer on and off button is incredible for later on when you want to go in and turn the EQ off to AB yourself and listen and go, okay, let me see what I did with that EQ. Oh, I've made things worse by the EQ, and so let me make some tweaks. So that button is a great knob. It's just not what I thought it was for. So again, less mousing. Grab the mouse and go through 5 or 6 steps, with your traditional methods in a DAW, or again using the Console 1, select your track, start turning knobs. And instantly, you are not only making better music, you are improving your workflow dramatically, which again, that's what we're after. So, great piece of gear, time saver for sure. Again, it's win-win. So we're going to go just a little bit deeper in the next video, and I hope you'll join us for that, and we'll look at some more of the features of Console 1.